You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
Jack Daniel's is proudly served in fine establishments, questionable joints, and everywhere in between. So, no matter where you go, in every bar, you'll always know someone by name.
Jack.
Jack and Coke?
Shot of Jack?
Jack Daniels, please.
Right away.
That's what makes Jack, Jack.
Please drink responsibly. Responsibility.org. Jack Daniels and Old No. 7 are registered trademarks. Copyright 2025 Jack Daniels. Tennessee whiskey. 40% alcohol by volume. 80 proof.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast, or welcome to the podcast if this is your first time. I very much appreciate you all so much. And you know what else I appreciate? I appreciate all the birthday wishes. It was my birthday over the weekend, and I got a crazy amount of messages. It seems to get bigger and bigger every year, and the fact that you guys care enough to reach out with those kind words, it really does mean a lot to me. It's been 10 years now that I've been blabbering on the internet, and every year I'm just astounded by the amount of folks who aren't my direct family or my in real life friends who reach out to send me some well wishes, and it really, really means a lot. So thank you to everybody who's done that. If I haven't replied to you directly yet, I will do my best to get back to you, but thank you all so much. It really does mean the world. Anywho, on to this episode. On this episode, I am talking to Ian Galbraith, and Ian is the owner, operator, and main pizza maker at one of my very favorite pizza restaurants, Carlson Block in Wilkeson, Washington. We talk about how I found his fine establishment, shout out Paul, and how he is not just a pizza maker, he is also a guitar and gear fiend. So yes, it was a match made in Tone Mob podcast land, and well, let's get into the episode. Let's do it. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast, the show about guitar stuff, occasionally, sometimes. I'm your host, Blake Weiland, and with me today, I have Ian Galbraith from quite possibly one of my very favorite pizza places on the planet, Carlson Block. What is going on, man?
Not a whole lot. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to do this. This is kind of a funny story about how all this came together. So, it's been a long-time listener and supporter named Paul Marsh, who's been telling me for years that I needed to get out there to Wilkeson to try your pizza because I talk about pizza a lot on this show. And finally happened. Was it 2 summers ago, I think, somewhere in that ballpark. And he had posted in the Tone Mob group, you know, on the side of your workstation where there was a string joy sticker and all this stuff. And I was like, I do need to get out here. So yeah, Paul, shout out to Paul for making this happen. He's gonna like this episode.
Paul's a good dude. I mean, we've had interactions every time he's come through the restaurant. Definitely he's a big music fan and and a big pizza fan, obviously, as well. Yeah. But it's been nice getting to know him, and he really likes the pizza, and he loves music. So we're always able to chat about something. Yeah,
100%. So it's cool that this happened. And yeah, he did not disappoint me. The pizza is absolutely incredible. I think you're I'd have to go back and look. I think you're the third pizza guy I've had on that wasn't specifically a music guy, but also is a music guy. So it all works out.
I'm honored. Thank you. I'm glad you like the pizza, obviously, but this is cool. Pizza is what I do for a living, but I love music, so it's far more passionate about that.
Yeah, totally understand. Well, we're gonna have to do kind of a split journey. Usually I talk about how did you start playing guitar and how did that lead to this, but we need to do both. We need to go, when did you start playing guitar and get into music and everything, your inspirations. Also, how did you come to own this incredibly cool restaurant in, honestly, not a place I would expect to have a restaurant like what you do? So there's a lot of ground we need to cover here. I'll let you start wherever you think it makes the most sense.
Sure. Well, I'm in the restaurant, so I guess I can kind of talk about this first.
Cool.
So we're in the town of Wilkeson. It's about 500 people, tucked in the northwest corner, up near Mount Rainier National Park. The state route that goes through the town dead ends in the park. So, which we're currently undergoing an issue there with access to the park. But past us, there's one other little town, and then it's nothing but federal land in the park itself. So It's this tiny little town. My parents actually bought a piece of land just past us about 25 years ago. And that was the first time I'd ever come out to this area to see the land they bought, and they wanted to build a little house on it. And it was 2010. I was living in Colorado. I had left cooking and I was doing commercial photography out there. And this building came up for sale. And I remember seeing this building, visiting my parents after they built their house. And I was talking to my dad. It was just like one of those things where it's like, it'd be cool if someone did something. It's such a cool building.
Yeah.
It was in rough shape. And I had been out cooking. I went to culinary school and I cooked in kitchens for a lot of years, but I was kind of tired of that life. But it was something where if I was going to cook for a living again, it'd want to be for myself in an atypical situation. And this just seemed like a great opportunity to maybe just jump in and see if I can make something work for myself and make a life. And it took a lot of years. We bought the building in 2010. We opened at the end of 2016. So we've been in business. Will be 9 years this December, which is awesome.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, man. They say like most restaurants fail within the first 5 years. If you can kind of get out of that, you might be able to have a shot at having a good run. And so, Lord willing, we'll be able to stick around for a long time, But we've had the business been up since 2016. Had the building since 2010. It is kind of weird, the fact that it's 500 people in this town, and there's nothing past us, so it's not a throughway to anywhere really. It's like I think it's of the 4 entrances, it was probably the least popular entrance to the national park. But we did have that going for us. It was an entrance to the national park, so during the summer months, people would pass through. But I was able to, I think, do something at a good enough level that people were willing to drive here. Because within a half-hour drive from Wilkeson, although it's 500 people, we have 80 to 100,000 people within like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, a reasonable amount of time to drive to dinner, So there was a client base or a customer base, potential customer base within a 20, 25 minute drive. And so it was just a matter of producing something that people were willing to get in their car and drive for. And I think, it's definitely gets better every day, and people we don't advertise. So we've had a couple nice articles written about us, and we've been able to slowly over the years get our name out there, and people come out and they like it and they come back and they tell friends, and and it's kind of word of mouth, a natural progression, and here we are now. So
yeah, I think it's one of those spots. I mean, the first time I came out there, we were like, okay, let's try to get there right when they open, because our schedule, we had to. It's one of those things. We were in Seattle, and we're like, well, we got to go out there. We're not intending to go to the national park, right? We're going to get the pizza. And when we got here, there was a line already forming was fairly deep. And so we were like, oh, and we were able to sneak in and grab one of the last tables. So it worked out. But I take that as a good sign. We're showing up at 3:00 and there's people waiting. They're not here for no reason, right?
It's humbling, actually. It actually fills me with energy every day, just knowing that, okay, here we go. I'm really competitive, and I played sports growing up, and so mentally in my mind, it's like 3:00 is game time. And so I much prefer, I like it when there's a line, because it's like, okay, time to get the energy up and go to work sort of attitude, as opposed to, I hope people show up to hope it's a good night tonight, But when there's a line at 3:00, it's like, okay, I know it's going to be a good day. Let's get the energy up and try to crush through these pizzas, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's interesting too. The town itself, like I'm glad you gave me the population, because I was like, this is just an interesting little. It's very much like it feels like you just drive through it and it's gone, type of thing. And I've always wondered. I've never lived anywhere. I'm not a big city guy necessarily, but I've always been in the burbs, where there's 40, 50,000 people or so.
Yeah.
Always wanted to get out more rural. But I think Wilkeson is one of those places where it's like right where I would want to be in the sense of Pacific Northwest, not too far from the city if I need to get there, but it does feel like you're kind of out there. Has that been a challenge or a benefit, do you say?
I've never lived in a rural area before moving here. I've always been like you. When I was young, I wanted to be where things were happening. I wanted to be in a city or in very close proximity to it, because I'd be in there all the time, whether it's for food or shows or whatever. It's just where life was happening. But now that I moved out here, it's really, granted, I'm at a different phase in my life. If I was 22 again, I'd probably feel very different,
right?
But I'm about to be 46, and like I got 2 babies and a wife and a family, and this is great, There's some challenges that come with it, having a small population. Everyone knows everyone, which is a blessing, but it's also like everyone knows everyone. There's a certain safety and anonymity, being able to go about your life, kind of doing your thing. Now, if I go to the post office, it might take me 40 minutes to get home some days, because, I'm talking to this person, or I know everybody. People know everybody. It's like, you're talking to this person, then talking to this person, and okay, that was a 25-minute pick up your letters, and it should have taken me a minute and a half.
Yeah.
But it's cool though. Wilkeson has it's a unique town. I didn't know a lot about it at all when I moved here. I came here for the building, and because I was moving back home to be near my parents. And but the history of Wilkeson is really cool and kind of captivated me a little bit. It's a relatively historic town. It was known for like coal mining and sandstone and lumber, all three of which have really fallen off the radar as far as like resources that we use in our modern day life. But at one point in time, like Wilkeson was in the small group of towns they were considering to be the capital of the state of Washington, which eventually went to Olympia. That said, all the Capitol buildings, the government buildings in Olympia, are built with Wilkeson sandstone. All the original streets, the cobblestone streets, they're sandstone, cobblestone in Seattle. That's all Wilkeson sandstone.
Oh, wow.
A lot of beautiful buildings throughout the state are constructed of sandstone that were quarried just right down the road. It's just a resource that was in abundance and of great quality. But we don't use a lot of sand. We don't use sandstone anymore.
Right.
They still fell trees and lumber comes out of here, not nearly the way it was. And coal mining, which they turned to coke here, which is like a cooked, compressed version of coal. That's not used anymore. So Wilkeson at one point had, I'm kind of talking out my ass, but maybe 4,500, 5,000 residents.
Oh, wow.
When it was booming, and you had the trains coming through here, you had resources leaving, you had business magnates trying to I mean, making a lot of money that own these companies, and you had the mining companies themselves were building towns. They were building, like if you go up to Carbonado and some of Wilkeson's home, Carbonado's the town just right past us, where a lot of miners lived and stuff. And then also in town, the mines would build houses, so you'd have all these uniform houses and stuff for the employees, and it was just must have been an exciting time, kind of roughneck, the kind of men that would like go into coal mines and chop down trees 100 years ago, or kind of very different from me. So it'd probably be really cool to step back in time and see what that world was like. But that's the way it used to be. Now it's just like kind of like a residential, a lot of families, not much business. We don't have a single stoplight. There's a few stop signs, and 500 people. You don't think it'd be nice, but for me, it's really great. Especially at this stage of my life, I couldn't imagine living in a city again. I couldn't, suburbs is great. That's comfortable enough, but I could never imagine like living in a city. I go to cities now, and then I leave when I'm done with what I need to do in a city.
Yes, I love cities. I really like them. I love New York City. I think it's like one of the coolest places ever.
Oh, they're amazing.
But no way. I'm not built for that. No way.
Couldn't do it at all.
No, hats off to those that can, because that is an experience. The first time we went to New York, we stayed in an Airbnb, and we didn't really. It was one of our first Airbnb experiences, and so we're like, okay, how's this work? And we were staying in someone's apartment that they were moving out. There were it was like a roommate situation.
Sure.
They moved out of the room temporarily and went to stay with their parents, so we could rent their room in the apartment. So we were like roommates with these random people that we'd never met before, sharing the bathroom, like the whole 9 yards. Yeah. And I was like, wow, we're really doing the New York thing right now.
Yeah, this is like immersion vacation.
Yeah, it was cool.
Sure.
But it was like, oh yeah, this is not how I want to do day to day at all.
You're still in New York City, there's something awesome about that. Like 100%. I went to culinary school in the Hudson Valley, just north of like the city, and we used to take the train in all the time, and it's unbelievable when you're there.
Yes.
There's just so much life happening. For me, a West Coast kid, like it's like, oh, I know the city because I've watched a million movies and seen a million TV shows, and there's something unbelievable with that. Finally, be able to arrive in a place you've seen only on a screen, and then you're like, oh no, this is a real place in the real world, and there's real people living here, and it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and just I've told this story on the podcast a few times, but I was a New York pizza skeptic. I wasn't as well versed in the pizza world as I am now. Not that I'm an expert, but I'm a lot more snobby about it than I used to be. But I was like, it's pizza. It's going to be fine. Like everybody makes a big deal about New York pizza. It's pizza. It's going to be great. I'm sure it's just as good as anything else. But when I went there and actually experienced it and was standing there in the city holding a slice and eating, I'm like, oh no. I was wrong. Yeah. I was very wrong. Yeah. This is actually special. I understand now. It's kind of fun when you go into something like skeptical, or maybe you go into a movie that you don't have very high hopes for, and that ends up being really good.
Oh, totally.
It's kind of, it was that experience. It was like, it's going to be fine. Oh, it's not just fine. It's really
like, oh no, this is great. Yeah.
And I just think about it all the time. Like, I got to get back. I got to get there.
Yeah.
Got to have more pizza. But yeah. Before we get, I want to get into some music stuff. But before we do, I want to talk about the building specifically, because it feels like a special thing. It's very cool looking, and you've done a great job with the restaurant side of it. But I know that's only part of it. There's another like half that I've never seen, or it seems like another half that I've never seen.
In the downstairs.
Yeah.
So the other side. So the building originally, Gus Carlson. It's the Carlson Block. It was Gus Carlson's the man who built it. He actually had an original building in town, but we had a fire in 1909. that kind of tore through this little downtown area, and most of it was wood structures. There's a lot of wood structures that burnt in 2009 and 1909, and so he rebuilt this place. And originally, it was a single open floor downstairs. In the center wall, which you've seen, and it's, if you look behind me, you can see glass panes there. That center wall was put in just before Prohibition. It kind of, separated the downstairs. We renovated that as well. That was a coffee and tea bar that was open during the day. And that was another business within the Carlson Block, the pizza place. And then we had this little coffee area. Had to be two separate businesses because of fire code, because it's just issues that exits and all this stuff that
right.
It is whatever. And anyways, but we ran a coffee and tea bar that was open during the day. Was never really profitable. And it was just something that it was kind of sustained itself, but it was subsidized by the success of the pizza place. And that went away as soon as COVID hit. It was like, COVID came, and there's another coffee place in town. There was for a town of 500 people, like 2 coffee places. Like, it doesn't make sense. And so we closed that down. So right now I just use that as keep sodas, extra sodas, extra plates, extra dishes, just storage. So that at some point in time we might do something with it. It doesn't cost me any money not to have anything there.
Right.
And I have no desire to operate 2 businesses. Right now it's like with the pizza place, I am the majority of the labor. And so I have only a certain amount of time every day. I make every pizza. I do all the prep. I don't have time to run another business. So we might turn into a rentable space or something if people wanted to rent it out for an event or a gathering or something. But that's all to be determined in the future. So
sure. I was curious about the history of the building, though. Like, what was it? Obviously you didn't build it to be a pizza place. So what was the original purpose?
Yeah. So Gus Carlson, he built it, like I said, in 1910 is when it was finished. It was like, they did a little bit of food service here. There was originally a barber. So upstairs was a hotel. Downstairs was a public space. They had 12 rooms upstairs, in which my family and I now live in. We've renovated it. We live upstairs.
Oh, cool.
What was the old hotel. And so
that's amazing.
Yeah. So when I come to work, I come down the stairs and I come to work. It's an awesome commute, like super easy. My kids are always around. My wife is always around. It's great. And for someone like me, I'm pretty introverted. So my family is like my circle. And so having them around is awesome. We live up there. We've renovated. It's opened it up a little bit because it really was really compartmentalized.
Sure.
And when I lived here, I moved in 2010 or early 2011 and end of 2010. And it was really compartmentalized. A family had lived here we bought the building from a family that purchased it in the 70s after it was vacant for 40 years or something like that.
Oh, wow.
I think this building, at the onset of World War II, went, I think, kind of dilapidated a little bit. The previous family bought it in the mid to late 70s, and then they raised their family here. But it was still upstairs. It was still really compartmentalized and claustrophobic feeling. We've since opened it up a little bit and to make it kind of more livable. But Gus Carlson opened it up as he had a little food service here where the lunch counter is and like everything. They had a dentist office upstairs, which is now my office, which is just a storage room. But but there was a dentist here on site. They had over on that was the cafe side. They had a place where like loggers and miners could bring their paychecks and they would cash them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so that way they could spend their money at their bar because they had some billiard tables and they sold alcohol and a lot of alcohol.
A lot, I'm sure.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Yeah. You're working in the mines or you're working in the woods, like you're done. And then they would go upstairs and there's some less than Christian things that were going on upstairs.
Sure, of course.
So I think
in a logging and mining town, you don't.
It is what it is. Yeah. And so that's kind of like the way the building operated. It ran that way for a few decades, and then I think from 1910 until about the onset of World War II, and then things were a little bit hazy as far as like. I think it was still owned by the Carlson family. I think his son still owned it, but I don't think it was used. It wasn't open to the public, and so we bought it from a family. The Hildings, they had it since the 70s. Like I said, they did. I think one of the contingencies, they got a grant from the government or something, and one of the contingencies was to open up a business open to the public in the building. And so they had a little cafe for about 5 years or something in the 80s, which was on the restaurant side. But other than that, it was really just a hotel upstairs, a little dentist office, public space downstairs, a little bit of food, a lot of alcohol, some billiards tables, and a place for the hardworking men to cash their checks and spend their money.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, Rocky.
What's up, Vincent?
Did you hear about the latest?
Latest what?
The latest drop from Maris. It's totally insane.
No, tell me more.
Maris just released Enzo X.
What's that?
Enzo X is a supernova expansion from the original Enzo into the highest quality and most flexible studio synthesizer ever created in a pedal format.
Whoa!
Enzo X combines 5 synth types, 5 drives, 3 reverbs, and 5 modulations. It also includes a full 2.5 second stereo delay, all in one pedal.
That sounds hard to use.
It's not. The UI is from the same family as the Mercury X and the LVX. It's super easy to dive in and see exactly what you are tweaking in real time.
Oh, I see. It's right there on the screen.
Yep.
Is it just for guitars, though?
Nope. You can plug almost anything into the Enzo X, including your MIDI controller.
That sounds incredible. Where do I get it?
You can pick up Enzo X online at maris.us or at any of their fine retailers across the globe.
Did you just say across the globe?
They know what I meant.
Wait, are we getting paid for this?
I'm still waiting on that cash money from last time.
He better at least give us pizza for dinner.
I'm not giving him his Enzo X back until he does.
For more information, make sure you check out maris.us, and apparently I have to go order a pizza. How exactly do artists get their music on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, all these services? How in the world do you get your music there? Well, in the past, you had to use something called a record label. But these days, you can use DistroKid. DistroKid is the absolute easiest way to get your music up on streaming services, and it's the most affordable way to do so. Not only do plans start at $22.99 for the entire year, that's less than $2 a month, DistroKid also does not take a cut of your streaming revenue, unlike some other services out there. Even better if you sign up by going to tonemob.com/distrokid. That's tonemob.com/distrokid. One more time, that's tonemob.com/distrokid. You'll get 30% off. That's right, 30% off their already extremely reasonable prices. So go to tonemob.com/distrokid and get your music out there. We are brought to you today by Sweetwater, specifically the Gear Exchange. You may have heard about this. This is a place where you can go to buy and sell your used gear. Maybe you got a pedal over there that's just kind of collecting dust. Maybe there's something you've been eyeing from the Sweetwater catalog. Well, right now is a great time to turn that unused gear into something you're actually going to use. Even better, if you sell on the Gear Exchange, you can keep 100% of the sale as long as you choose a Sweetwater gift card as your payout method. That is not too shabby because, let's be honest, most of this buying and selling we do is just to fund new gear purchases, and that is a great way to reach a wide variety of customers and keep 100% in your pocket, or rather on your pedal board. So go check out the Sweetwater Gear Exchange and turn that unused gear into something that's actually going to help you write that next huge riff. Yeah, it's so cool to hear that story, because I have this weird fantasy that's probably never going to happen about, like, I keep Instagram's, really got to know me really well. So I'm getting fed, like, look at this, converted barn. Look at this. One of the coolest ones I saw was, I think in Michigan, there was a small fire station that somebody converted to live in. And like, this still had the pole upstairs and stuff. I'm like,
stuff's awesome.
I'm like, I love that idea so much. I'd love to. There was a school here close to where I live that went up for sale about 10 years ago. Way too big for any normal family to like use as a house. It was like, I can't remember, like 40,000 square feet or something, huge. Like
all I see is chores.
Yes. Yeah. Because it had the whole gym, like a full basketball court gym and like lockers and different classrooms. And so I was like,
super cool though.
It'd be amazing to like convert into a hotel or something. Yeah. But, I think it got sold, but I think it's still sitting there empty as far as I'm aware. Yeah. But I fantasized about that place a lot. I kept pulling the listing up and be like, could buy it.
And dropped the price.
Yeah. I'm like, but what would I do with that much room? That'd be horrible.
No, that's the thing. It's like the idea of having a big place like that. I have a hard enough time keeping up with a place like this,
Yes.
Like the bigger the place, it's either you have staff, which we don't.
Right.
And so if you're just a dude, it's like, okay, I have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. No, thanks. No, like we constantly are like, we have about a 1,400 square foot house. And we're like, and there's a whole room that's just useless. It just fills with stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, obviously obviously we only need about a 1,200 square foot house because we don't even use that room. It's for the epitome of first world problems. But
that's
it's ridiculous. But segueing, let's get into the music stuff. Obviously, you're a big fan of music and guitar and gear and stuff, and I want to hear how that story happened.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'll preface it. I'm a terrible player.
Me too.
I love the guitar. I think it's my favorite invention. Probably. But I'm terrible, and I don't mind. I still have great fun. Especially now, I used to lament the fact that I wasn't as good, and I used to beat myself up about it. But like now that I'm older, it is what it is. Like I make pizza, but I love guitar, and now everyone can be a great guitar player.
That's right. You make fantastic pizza, so I can't do that. Yeah,
and it doesn't diminish my love for it. But I got my first guitar when I was 13. It was a crappy MIJ Les Paul copy by a company called Seville. I've actually tried to find. I've found guitars online with the same logo. I haven't been able to find like another one of mine because I'll buy it in a heartbeat. But it was just like a bolt-on Les Paul wine red LP, and I loved it. I didn't know how to set it up. My dad didn't know how. My dad got it for me. He got it from a guy. And so I knew how to change the strings. I had a little tuner, and I did the best I could with what I had. And this was 92 or something like that. And and the only thing I had was like a book of Bob Dylan songs that my mom had for her acoustic guitar when she was 20-something years old. And I had a Beatles songbook, and that was kind of my introduction to it. It's just like learning the chord shapes from the books, chord diagram, these songbooks, chord diagrams. And that was about it, wanting to learn how to solo and wanting to do the rock thing, but I didn't have all that stuff and I didn't have the internet. And so that's kind of how it started for me. And, going forward, all I had was acoustic guitar for about 15 years after I left high school. I had that guitar all through high school. I got a little bit better. I could play through songs and stuff like that. But then when I went out to college and I went out to culinary school throughout my 20s, all I had really was an acoustic guitar. And that was fun. But it really took a kind of a backseat. It was always something I had around my apartments or wherever I was living. And just strumming along to mostly songs I already knew. By that time I had the internet and I could look up, chord charts and diagrams and all that stuff and learn a little bit more. But I was kind of focused on other things. And so guitar itself kind of took a backseat. But it actually wasn't until I moved out here that I really kind of started taking it more seriously. So really in the last 15 years have I kind of reignited my love for guitar and had the opportunity and time to get a little bit better. And that's when I moved back into electric guitar. And that started with, I think I got a G&L Tribute Legacy.
Okay.
Just like their import Strat. It was great. You know what I mean? And by that time I knew I had the internet. I didn't know how to set up a guitar, but I quickly learned, and I loved it. And maybe the one thing I love more than guitars is I love working on guitars because I'm very tactile. I think it satisfies the same way I like cooking food and I love making pizza. I love working with my hands. And so I love working on guitars. Every guitar I have now, and I have, I don't know, seven electrics, are guitars I built.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I don't have any guitars that are, manufactured, and so, and they're all and they're mostly Fenders. There's a couple set necks in there. But they're all I don't do any woodwork, they're all Warmoth necks, or Warmoth bodies or, USA custom guitar bodies. And then there's a company out of, Canada, Precision Guitar Kits. They mill set neck kits.
Oh, cool.
Excellent. Really, really nice work. And so they're all stuff I've put together, and I like to do all the finishing work and spray all the lacquer and do all the wiring and stuff like that. So that's kind of I love playing guitar. I'm a lot better now than I was. But I love guitars themselves. I think they're just super cool. And I love working on them and dinking around with them. And at the end of it, you have something you can actually use,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And it's special. I like it.
I think that is an interesting distinction, because I think tend to lean towards that side. I don't actually like doing a lot of DIY stuff with guitars, which sounds really weird to say, because I'm a partner in a company that does DIY stuff, Gun Street, out of Portland here. And it's just but it's not my thing. It's not my passion. I like playing guitar. I like nerding out about specs and woods and magnets and all that. I like that, but I don't really I can set up a guitar. I know I could build, something like that. Totally. I'm a very hands-on type of guy. Did mechanic work for a long time and all. So it's not like it's beyond my skill set, but I just don't really, I kept thinking I'm going to do that. I'm going to put together a parts caster. I'm going to spray paint this guitar. I'm going to do these projects that and they just, obviously it's not a priority to me because they're still sitting there disassembled in a bag. Yeah. And then I'm online looking at some other, build that somebody else did. But I do love the guitar. Like, I love thinking about the guitar. I love looking at them. I love looking at them almost as much as I like playing them. They make me happy to look at.
Oh man, it's it's my pornography a lot of times. It's like I'm like, oh my, like looking at some of like vintage guitars, like guitars I could never afford, and just like the natural, beautiful patina that comes over nitrocellulose lacquer after 60 years or something. Oh. It's so pretty.
It's so nice. It's so cool.
I love that stuff, man. Like it really. I have a couple. I have a couple books. I got one, Fender, The Golden Years, and it's just like a coffee table book, like big, thick coffee table book. Beautiful book. Just talks about like those early years in the Fullerton factory, and from Leo's initial prototypes through the production runs, and just seeing like they look as good then as they do now. They will be around forever. That's why Leo Fender is like one of the guys that's just like Henry Ford to me, you know, like he made something that will live forever. It'll look the same forever. You know, like the Telecaster will always be with us, and it's always going to look the same way it did like in 1950, you know?
Yeah.
And super cool. I think it's so American.
Yes. Yeah. It's, he really did something pretty incredible because, I mean, between the Tele and the Les Paul, I mean, I actually got I have a 1981 Les Paul Custom that was just a dream to get. Awesome. And I pulled it out and I was just kind of like drooling over it. Still can't believe I have that thing. And my wife, who's not a guitar nerd like the way I am, though by proxy she gets exposed to a lot more of it than your average person. But she said something that I thought was interesting. She was like, "That is how a guitar should look." Yeah. And I was like, "Yeah, it is. That is how a guitar should look. They should all look like this, right? This is perfect."
Oh, it looks great. Do you have that in ebony or is it white?
It's white, which is now yellow.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't ever think I would get one of those, and at today's prices, that would be true. But fortunately, I got it 8 years ago or so when it was a little more reasonable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something. I think this whole show is about just like people who love guitar. You know, a lot of people have started businesses in the guitar world, and almost all of them that I've ever talked to didn't intend to be business people. They just fell in love with a certain aspect of guitar, and eventually were like, "Oh man, I have a business now. Yeah. Like now I have to be a business person." But that was not the original intention for 99% of people. But I don't imagine that like you don't accidentally start making pizza and start selling it to people in quite the same way.
Yeah. No, I mean, for me, it was, I started making pizza out of love for pizza, you know. But no, when it came to the business, you know, it was very intentional, you know. But I'm a big believer in following your passions, but like for me, it was more like my passion. I do have a passion for pizza and food, but for me, it was like working with my hands. My passion was like wanting to produce something that's useful and people enjoyed, you know. And it seemed that my natural talents with food lent itself to like this line of work, you know. I loved making pizza. I would love to make it for myself and for my family and friends. But then I knew that like if I'd want to do something with my hands. I'd want to do something that lent or created value that people enjoyed, and it seemed like it was a very intentional decision to start a business and try to make a career of it. And when you do that, you run the risk of like kind of crushing your passion, you know? And so for me, I love cooking. It's not my biggest passion in the world. Like, you know what I mean? Like I have more passion for guitars than I do pizza. I have more passion for music than I do pizza. I don't know if I would want to go into the music business or guitar business or, you know what I mean? Like, I like that over here in like my love category, because that's stuff I really enjoy, and I would never want to like snuff that flame.
Yeah.
And that said, I'm not worried about really losing my passion for, because it's not pizza I'm in love with. Like, I love like taking care of people. I love feeding people. I love producing something with my hands. And then from that, I've also learned new things I love in this business. It's like, I love giving teenagers a first job,
Oh yeah.
I love being not an asshole boss, and like, helping them learn the basic skills of interacting with people and being in the world when they've gone from like 15 never having a job to now they're 18 and graduating high school and have worked at someplace and taken on some responsibility and are capable of being a better future employee to someone else. Like, there's things that as I've gotten older and like kind of grown as it's not I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know. It's a nice looking ceiling though.
Yeah, I apologize.
It's all good.
Oh, it's this thing is dying. I'm going to set this up somewhere else.
Okay.
Is that bad?
No, that's fine. Actually, that's almost better in some ways. Those windows are nice to look at.
Okay. It'll never happen again. So yeah, that's the wall I was talking about. So they put that in.
Yeah.
That stuff that I've grown to love every bit as much as, like, I make pizza. That's how we make our money. And that's how, I make a living. But I don't, while I love pizza, I'm not super passionate about it. Like, I love eating it, it's super delicious. I love other people's pizza more than I love my own pizza. But I still try to get, oh yeah, you never, my pizza would not be my go-to pizza, only because, one, I think it's like, I'm just desensitized to it. Maybe if someone else made my pizza and I had, I don't know. I don't eat a lot of pizza anymore that I make, but I'm happy to eat pizza wherever I am. We had pizza. We went to Cairn Spring Mills for like a pizza party they had for people. And there's a young man, Tam Pizza. His pizza was awesome. I loved eating it. It was great. I didn't make it. It tasted so different and so wonderful. And I think there's something that, if you eat your own food all the time, you just kind of desensitized to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It does.
But
yeah,
it's like if you play the same riffs all the time, you know what I mean? You're kind of like, oh, I've played that a million times. It doesn't have that same effect as like when you stumbled upon it the first time.
Right. Yeah, 100%. That makes a ton of sense. Yeah, it's I like what you were talking about though, with kind of compartmentalizing different interests or passions, because I am the type of guy who will, well, obviously find something that he loves and then like, well, I got to turn this into a job. I got to make this into a thing that I do all the time. Excuse me. And that can be good. And it's been great for the guitar and musical side of me. But admittedly, like I've told a lot of people this, and I've talked about it on the podcast a lot, is I get my fill at the end of the day. Whereas at the end of the day in my previous jobs, I'd come home and play guitar. Oh yeah, I can't wait to get home and play guitar. This is going to be great. Yeah. But now when I'm trying to relax or I'm trying to unwind, I don't want to play the guitar. I've been looking at it and playing it and talking about it all day long, which is a blessing. I'm really happy that I get to do that. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm going to read a comic book or I'm going to watch a movie. It's like, I my guitar itch is sufficiently scratched every day, all day. So I actually, it sounds weird to say, but I try to get away from it sometimes. And it isn't because I don't like it. It's just, I guess a good analogy would be you eat pizza every day. Eventually you're going to want a cheeseburger, at some point. It's
absolutely
just what it is.
Hello there. I'd like to introduce you to your new best friend, the Chase Bliss Audio Lossy. Lossy is a collaboration between Chase Bliss and Good Hertz. And it's meant to give you some control over those weird digital artifacts that come with very compressed audio. You're hearing it right now. All the changes that are taking place are strictly coming from my playing dynamics. I'm just interacting with the pedal and letting it do its thing. In some true stereo goodness. If you'd like some more details about Lossy, I'd invite you to head over to chaseblissaudio.com. I think you're gonna like what you find.
Are you ready to dairy-free your mind? This summer, melt away your dairy-free expectations with So Delicious dairy-free frozen desserts. Enjoy mind-blowing flavors like salted caramel cluster, chocolate cookies and cream, cookie dough, and more. For over 35 years, So Delicious has been cranking up the flavor with show-stopping products that are 100% dairy-free, certified vegan by Vegan Action, and are so unbelievably creamy, your taste buds will do a double take. Dairy-free your mind. Visit SoDeliciousDairyFree.com.
This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Summer's almost out and fall's calling. Luckily, Nordstrom has everything you need for the season ahead, all under $100. Discover new arrivals from your favorite brands like Mango, Princess Polly, Wave, Free People, BDG, and more. Whether you're planning a last-minute getaway, heading back to class, or refreshing your office looks, you'll find the latest trends and beauty must-haves without breaking your budget. It's easy, too, with free shipping, free returns, and in-store order pickup. Shop today, in stores, and at Nordstrom.com.
I think it makes perfect sense, and I think it's I think anybody who chases a passion, one, I think it's good to chase your passions, but it's always the risk when you try to turn your passion into a job. Yeah, at least be conscious of it. Like, you do run that risk of you're gonna have to navigate those waters of how do I turn my passion into a job without like snuffing out my passion, because some people burnout's real, and like we only have so many hours in the day, and we only have so much mental focus to turn our attention to the things we love, and so people all the time, every day, like snuff out their passions for things because they just chase it as far as they can, So it's like, how do you find that golden mean where you're able to chase it down and make a living out of it without like just killing it,
Yeah.
So, and there's no right or wrong way, that's something everyone has to figure out for themselves and find that balance. And if it means, coming home and watching a movie and or not touching it for a few days, or giving yourself a week off from whatever to find that balance, then good on you, And for me, it's like,
and I
go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. You had a thought there.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, for me, like I cook pizza all day. I love cooking, and I cook for my family on the weekends, and I don't get tired of cooking. But I'm not cooking pizza. I'm not touching dough. I'm not touching I'm doing other foods that interest me. Like this summer, I'm super into curing pastrami. Like I'm really into pastrami right now, and that scratches
boy.
It's awesome. It it's so fun, and that like the food world's so vast. Like pizza is how I make my living. But like I find little things I get really interested in the food world that like I can kind of scratch that itch and get that like passionate feeling of learning something new and doing something good to a high level, And so I think I just put a brisket in a brine yesterday, and it'll be my 6th one of the summer. And every one I'm trying to get better and better and better, and like that's super fun for me. And at the end of it, like that first pastrami was kind of not great, The last one was so good. and I really have high hopes for this one. This could be even better. So it's kind of like, finding a way to balance out like the passion for like food or music or whatever it is without, like we were talking about, killing it. And so for me, it's finding little areas of like food stuff I still love or that's new and interesting, because I'm sure as hell not going to be making pizza on my days off, let alone I can't even, I don't even eat pizza throughout the week nearly as much as I did when we first opened this place,
Yeah, of course.
So anyways.
Yeah. Well, now you got me curious. I didn't anticipate talking about this, but I'm pretty decent. Definitely not like competition level or anything like that, but I'm pretty decent at like smoking brisket. I got a pretty good system that is a pretty good crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
But I've always been real curious about doing the pastrami, but I've never touched it. Never actually done it.
Yeah, you can do it. Easy.
Like what have you learned this summer about making pastrami?
Well, my first one, I use a calculator I found online. I think it was like an Amazing Ribs one to calculate how much of the pink salt, the nitrate salt to use, because that's what gives it its that pink color all throughout the brining process and smoking process, or just cooking process. The first one I used too much. For me, I err on the side of caution, do a little bit less in the nitrate and a little bit longer in the brine. Then I smoke for like the first third of the cooking process. I'm actively smoking, and then I let it cook all the way through to about 170, and then I kind of wrap. I do a wrap, and then I let it finish. I have a PK 360 grill, and I just kind of do it on that, and then I let it cook through, and then I also do. I'm trying to kind of emulate like that East Coast like Katz or Second Avenue Deli pastrami. You know what I mean?
Oh, Katz.
And so I can't. I don't have the facilities that they do, so I have to kind of figure out a way to do it at home. And so I wrap it, and I let the temperature get all the way up, like 190, 200 internal. And then I pull it out, and one thing I do have is I have a soup warmer in the restaurant, which is like, it's like a big open basin that you fill with water, and then you put a lid on. It has where you could, like a restaurant could keep soups warm,
Yeah.
And so I kind of use that. I kind of modify that. I put like a screen grate over top of it. I fill the basin and turn it on high, and it gives me like a gentle steam. And then I'll put the pastrami on top, and then I'll wrap the whole thing in foil, and I'll just let it sit there and steam and steam and steam. Because the one thing I love about like the East Coast pastrami style, as opposed to anything I've had on the West Coast or even growing up, is like it's so moist, and it's like wet, kind of, it's just so soft and beautiful. And so that's what I'm trying to get. So like I'll do it. Like this one's probably gonna be in the brine for about 2 weeks.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's a wet cure. It'll probably be 2 weeks. It's like after I trimmed it out, it was about a 9.5 pound brisket, and it'll probably do about 2 weeks in there, 14 days or so, and then you cook it until it's done. I mean, this one's 9 pounds. It'll be an all day thing. It'll probably be about 7-8 hours total. And then I'll let it just steam, and I found wetter the better, the longer I let it go, even a cup more out. You're not going to overcook it. It's only gonna get softer, and it's get probably 2 hours or so, 3 hours maybe. And then it's awesome. And then it's just so good. And so I've really taken to that this summer. And my wife likes pastrami. She likes a pastrami sandwich or like a pastrami Reuben or something like that. But it's mostly me eating an entire brisket. So when I get done cooking it, it's basically me eating it for about 2.5 days, just crushing as much meat as I can. So.
I love that. That's amazing. Yeah, that's fantastic.
So it's so good. Like, it's great.
All right, Ian, we're getting close to the end of the podcast, and before we slide over to Patreon and get into all those shenanigans, I have 2 classic questions I like to ask every guest.
Okay.
And before I do that, I like to give the guests the chance to take the floor. You know, you're talking to a few thousand people right now. You can shout out anybody you want to shout out, plug anything you want to plug, say hi to grandma or whatever. You know, the floor is yours right now.
Oh my goodness. Well, if any of people in my pizza community see this, what's up? I think, I have a nice little pizza community. Mostly it's all through Instagram because I don't get out much and I live in a tiny town. But anyone in the pizza community that happens to be watching this, hello. As far as guitar related stuff or anyone else, I thank my wife for letting me come and talk, and she's wrangling the kids on a day off. That's awesome. But one, and this is no BS, like String Joy is awesome. They make
thanks, man.
Beautiful strings. And Gun Street is awesome. I use their wiring harness in my Jazzmaster. It's perfect. It's they do awesome stuff. I will shout out a guy that I've been buying pickups from, Tim Esau, Sunday Handwound pickups. I don't know him, except for I'm on my 7th pair of pickups from him. He's just a dude out of his house, trying to make a business. But it started off with me getting him winding me a set of his Woodies for my Jazzmaster, and they blew me away. And now I've had him wind a set of PIFs, a couple Tele pickup sets, couple Strat sets. He can wind anything, but he has this real niche stuff. But his work is awesome. He's just he's out of Georgia, Sunday Handwound pickups. Other than that, I don't know who to shout out. I don't know a lot of people. I'm just happy to be here, man. So.
That sounds really great. I've actually heard, maybe it was from you. I've heard of that before, so I'll have to check out his work. He's just a dude making pickups. There's no pretense about him. He's a real one. So that's awesome. Well, thanks for that.
Sure.
All right. Final questions. First one. What is your favorite Boss pedal?
My favorite Boss pedal. Their 7-band EQ is on my board right now. I forget what was it. The classic one. Yeah.
G7.
So
yeah.
Yeah. And then the CE2, the chorus.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm. Probably that. The CE2 is probably pedal wise. I love Boss as a company. I just got a new piece of kit from them. I just got their 2-amp expander, that little one.
Oh, dude, yes, so good,
amazing,
so good,
amazing. Mm-hmm. And so I'm able to, because I only have 1 amp, and it was the amp. After my dad died, I built an amp. I could never play it. It's basically basically a Princeton type amp, But even that's too loud with kids and a wife and stuff. Until I got that piece of kit, that's awesome. I can use my amp, throw headphones on, or just dial it back until it's whisper quiet or a little bit, just room level. Awesome piece of kit. So
I have the original 2-amp expander and the 2-amp expander core, the new one.
Yeah, the core's one I just picked up.
Yeah, it's so good. I think that those are my favorite pieces of gear that aren't a guitar.
Yeah,
in this whole setup. They're amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Huge fan of it. Huge fan. Mm-hmm. So
it really is an expander, though. It can do so much stuff. It can do so many things.
Yeah, I almost feel bad for what I use it for. Is so I used to have a Weber Mini Mass, which worked, but sometimes I need quiet, like quiet. So I can use the headphones with the Boss, but the tube amp expander is so good with because it's not like a notched attenuation, and it's like, I can dial it back to like the perfect level to where my wife and kids are sleeping and no one even budges, it's awesome. And let alone like the Boss effects that they built in, so I can go through and like I use the reverbs almost for everything, I've had a couple different reverb pedals in the past, which are great, but I don't even have a reverb pedal on my port because I don't have reverb in the amp. I don't even have a reverb pedal anymore, because they have like 3 flavors. They have like just a hall, a plate, a spring, not much more I need, I can find something that works great. You can tweak it all you want, and it's great.
Yeah. Yep. Great shout out there. Yeah. I like to plug that thing every chance I get, cause I just think they're fantastic. Not enough people have the tube expander in their life. It's wonderful. It really is a game changer.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Good. All right. Final question. This is going to be a little bit weird because I'm talking to you.
Sure.
I asked everybody this though. What is your favorite pizza? What is your favorite kind of pizza?
So my favorite kind of pizza is, my favorite pizza of all time is like growing up, there was a place called Pietro's Pizza, and it was like the place you would go to after, like for a Little League banquet. After Little League, you go get your little trophy and you go play like Pietro's Pizza. And so for me, like that sense memory, it like when I think pizza, it's like some of the first pizza I ever loved. And it was greasy, and it's like crappy ingredients, so that's like Pietro's Pizza is my favorite pizza of all time.
Are you talking about the one in Milwaukee? Like,
so I've looked it up online. I think it might be the same company that like expanded too quick in the 80s, and then a lot of it died off, and then it might only exist in Milwaukee now. I think it might be the same company. I can't say that for certain,
okay.
I haven't read it. It was a while ago that I looked it up, but I do believe it was a chain that expanded too fast, died off, and then the original still might be around, one or two or a few of them in their original areas.
Yeah.
So,
okay. I think you're correct about that. The Milwaukee one, the original like striped building, if we're talking about the same place.
Red and white striped.
Yep. I've been there a lot.
Okay.
That's just north of me a little bit.
That's cool.
Great fond memories of that. They're actually moving that. This is just inside Northwest baseball, I guess, because nobody else cares. But that one's actually shutting down.
Okay.
And they're moving still in Milwaukee, but just a little ways over to where like kind of a little more, I don't know what the word would be. Kind of like there's like a McDonald's there and a Taco Bell and a Whole Foods and like kind of not a mall per se, not a mini mall. It's bigger than that, but sort of a large strip mall type area.
Yeah.
So that whole downtown Milwaukee area is getting really developed. And I think that building, unfortunately, while it's like kind of iconic, is going to become apartments, I think is what's going to happen to it.
That's sad. But yeah, so of all time, it would probably be that, because that was like my first memories of like a pizza place when I was a young kid, was going to that place. And that's not a declaration of like if it's like good, objectively good pizza. But for me, it's more like an emotional attachment to like food, And so that was like my first one. Some of the best pizza, like my favorite pizza is not a particular company or a pizza place. It's like a traditional New York slice, and there's a lot of places that do it great. I I like it when it's been rebaked. Throw them back in, crispier on the bottom, red pepper flake, a little parm, and that's it. I like a plain slice, really simple. That's the type of pizza I could eat over and over and over and over and over again. Just like a rebaked plain slice with a little flake on it or something like that is great. And there's so many places that make great slices like that out there. I don't think there's honestly not one that I've had that's like top of the list, but I haven't been back there in years and years and years and years, but yeah, just a plain New York slice in general. I'm happy. Even the cheap stuff is good. So
yeah. I found going there was the eye opener for me, where like you just get the plain slice. If you've never been somewhere before, you get the plain slice and it'll tell you everything you need to know, and then you can go from there. You gotta start with the plain slice.
Seems to be a lot easier to like throw whatever on a pizza and try to make someone happy. But like, it's like Johnny Marr when he was with the Smiths and stuff, he was just like, all right, for this band, like distortion's out, power chords are out. It's like he's removing things. And so he's like giving himself fewer colors on his palette to work with. But then within that is where the creativity kind of comes from. And so it's like, okay, plain slice. You have your dough, you have your tomatoes, you have your cheese, maybe some hard cheeses, but like fewer ingredients lets you know what you need to know about a place. And so, yeah, I that's my favorite way to eat a piece of pizza, just plain.
Yeah. I just realized what shirt I'm wearing, and I have to turn around for this so you can get the full experience. And
okay, this
is not great for the audio listeners, but hey, whatever, that's okay. Like,
oh, hey, right on.
For the audio people, it's a Bouncing Souls t-shirt, one of my favorite bands from New Jersey, and they had this pizza-themed shirt at their most recent show, and I just had to have it. I had to have it. Awesome. It's great Bouncing Souls shirt. So. All right, dude. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. We'll slide over to Patreon and see what kind of shenanigans we can get into.
Yeah, right on. Yeah.
Okay. All right, everybody. For Ian, this is Blake. And as always, folks, good luck and good tones. Alrighty, folks. I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you want to get weird with Ian and I, we get really weird over on Patreon. So if you'd like to do that with us, $5 a month will get you access to the ad-free feed and to all of the bonus episodes of the podcast, including this week's Alien Heavy episode with Ian Galbraith. So if you can do that, I'd really appreciate it. And if you can't, I totally get it. But if you could share this episode or any other episode with a friend, that also moves the needle in a huge way. I mean it. It's one of the biggest things you can do to help keep this thing going and keep it going strong like you have for the past decade. All right, folks. Make sure you check out Carlson Block if you're ever in the state of Washington. It is worth the drive no matter how far away you are. Just get there, enjoy the pie, and all that good stuff. And if you want your mouth to water, just follow Ian or Carlson Block on Instagram because it's just nothing but glorious pizza. All right, folks, I'll talk to you on the internet very soon. Very soon because I've got 2 more episodes to drop this week. Oh, yeah. Tape Spaghetti and Chasing Tone coming your way. All right, folks. Bye-bye. One last thing before we totally sign off here, I just want to remind you that if you do any shopping at Stringjoy, that's Stringjoy guitar strings made in Nashville, that will help me out as well. As I've said for years, I'm heavily involved in that company, and I really do think they're making the best products on the market. So if you would like to try custom strings, go to tonemob.com/stringjoy and check them out today. I seriously love what the team down there is doing. I help them out with all kinds of things, and by you supporting them, you are also supporting me as well. And hey, you need some strings, so why not get some custom strings just for your guitar and playing style? Again, the link for that is tonemob.com/stringjoy, and that will take you right to their website. and you can do all your shopping through there, and that will help everyone involved out. So thank you very much. Talk to you next time. We are brought to you by the wonderful folks at Gun Street Wiring Shop. Yes, Gun Street Wiring Shop. I've talked about them before. I used to say based out of Bend, Oregon, but guess what? Sean moved to my neck of the woods. Sean's in Portland. Sean is awesome and has helped me with a bunch of stuff lately. And if you have wiring needs for your guitar, he can help you too. If you want to get weird with it, he can get weird. If you just need to spruce things up a little bit, there's your guy. He takes all the guesswork out of doing your guitar wiring, and he makes it simple, and his customer service is top-notch, and I can't say enough good things about Gun Street as a company. I really respect Sean and what he's all about, and the product is top-notch. I've got 3 different guitars that now have Gun Street harnesses in them, and I could not be happier. So go to gunstreetwiringshop.com and check them out.